Hello, it's English AG Lover here, and this video, I just popped on Instagram a little picture asking what my next video should be, and this one was the first one that somebody requested, so I'll be doing a limb tightening tutorial today, and the girl that needs her limbs tightening is my Eliza, who is my Kaylee doll, Girl of the Year 2003, so she's quite old, so her limbs are quite loose, if you can see that. They don't really stay where you put them. You will need some fabric covered hair ties. The fabric covered ones work better because just the little rubber bands can deteriorate and snap, and then they won't keep your doll's limbs tightened for as long. So these are just regular hair bands. And then you will need a bag to put all of the stuffing into. This is quite a big bag, so that you don't lose any of it, because it does all go back in. It is very hard to get it all back in. I will show you in a little while, but it does all go back in. So first of all, you want to tie up your doll's hair to keep it all out of the way. You want to remove any necklaces or anything. So the next step is to untie the neck string here, and sometimes it's very tight and hard to do. Some of the older dolls have a like a cable tie around here, so if you're going to be doing tightening the limbs of a doll with a cable tie, you will need a replacement cable tie. I think you can get specific AG ones, but I'm sure any small cable tie that's the right size for hair would work. And also, if your doll has got short strings, I would recommend not doing this technique unless you have replacement string. So once you have this untied, you can then take off the head. It's a bit scary, but there we go. That's what an American Girl doll head looks like. So now we have a headless body, and what you need to do is remove all of the stuffing. If you're just tightening the arms, then you only have to remove half of the stuffing. So now I have emptied the body of all the stuffing, and here it is. It nearly filled this whole bag. You can't believe all of that came out of one doll, but yep, it did, and it will go back in. So now comes the actual limb tightening. Each limb is made up of the limb itself, this plastic cup, a metal clasp on the elastic, and then the elastic. And what you do with this method is you take a band, you separate the metal clasp from the plastic cup, and you pull it as hard as you can, and you create a gap here, and you now fill that gap with the hair tie. I hope you can see this. Keep hold of the metal clasp and keep pulling it away from the plastic cup as you tie the hairband. Get it as tight as you can, because then your doll's limbs will stay tighter for longer, but not so tight that you may risk it snapping. So now the gap between the plastic cup and the metal clasp is now full of the hairband, so that the arm is now much tighter in its socket, and you can't pull it away. With the legs, you have to get the cup and the clasp up through the body, so it comes up through the bottom. It can be a bit tricky, and then again you pull the metal clasp away from the plastic cup and fill this gap with the hair tie. There's one leg, so I will just go ahead and do the other leg and the other arm and then show you the next step. So now all four limbs have an elastic band between the cup and the metal clasp, and before you start restuffing, you just want to check that you've made them tight enough. So lift them up and see if they fall. If you hold the socket and move it around, see if it feels like there's a resistance. So the next step is now restuffing, and you want to push the stuffing right to the bottom to start off with. So, also make sure you get some around every side of the limb cup, some stuffing on either side, because you don't want to be able to feel that from the outside of the doll. Make sure you're pushing your hand right down in every direction and go all the way around like this. Sorry, this isn't a very good camera angle, but keep pushing your hand down and go all the way around to get it all smoothed out so that you don't get lumps all in one place. So as you get to the end, it's a good idea to do a little bit at a time to make sure you're getting it where you really need it. And again, remember to put some all the way around the joint cups at the top as well. But here's my last bit, and I think it's all going to go in, which is great. Just give her a squeeze, make sure she's not got any squishy, non-stuffed areas. So now I have stuffed her all the way, and you can see how stiff she is. Before, her limbs would have completely dropped, but now they stay exactly where you put them, which is going to make things really much easier for photo shoots. And now the last step is to replace her head. So you need to sort of use the head to push the stuffing down as you put it in, and make sure that the neck of the doll goes all the way in and that there's no stuffing sticking out. And then pull the strings both at the same time, because you don't want to lose one end inside the doll, and pull them as tight as you can. It's a good idea to sort of move some of the gathering around the front so it's not all gathered at the back of the neck. And then once you're happy with how tight it is, then tie the string back up. You want to tie a really strong double knot at least, if not a triple knot. So excuse her nudity, I will dress her again in a moment because I'm going to put her in some different clothes, but here she is. Her limbs are really nice and tight now, her arms can stay wherever you put them, and her legs too, and her head is back on nice and tight, and her body is all stuffed and not lumpy and bumpy, and she's like shiny and new again, even though she is a 10, nearly 11-year-old doll. So thanks for watching, and I hope this really helped you, but please ask any questions if you have any. So yeah, bye bye, thanks for watching.